Welcome back, GPS God. Glad that you are with us today. I don't know if this might be the first. No, we've had guests before. We're kind of in front of a live studio audience today, so we have some very lovely guests off to the side, out of camera, that we might let them make a guest appearance later. Never know. But we're glad you're here. You probably don't care about any of that, but we're here for you and all the behind-the-scenes action. GPSToGod.com, that's the website. You can reach out to us. Mailroom@gpstogod.com. That is the email address. Shoot us one if you would like. You can reach out on Instagram as well. And speaking of Instagram, there will soon be a new post going up. Our guy.
The third one of the year.
Third one.
Wipe off the cobwebs from that computer.
When was the last post you made?
I was going to say it might be the first of the year. But, we're only in March, so.
Still got time.
Mr. James Jones hooked us up. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it live. If you're listening on a podcast app, we'll just tell you about it. He hooked us up with a
Close
jersey.
your eyes and listen.
A jersey, not if you're driving.
Don't do that either, please.
An autographed jersey.
It's nice. You gonna hang that up in here?
We're going to hang this up, maybe get it framed. I don't know.
Real fancy.
It'll probably just hang like Andrew Wiggins' practice jersey.
Just throw
for
it into a cubby.
But
That's not good.
It's the wrong green for Fano.
yeah,
It is.
but still cool.
Packer green,
No, I mean
yes.
nobody on the Eagles sent us an autographed jersey.
Wow, we're good.
They're just
Too big time.
Yeah. But James, thanks very much, man. Also sent us an autographed football, so Ryan can model that one.
You should have had the hoodie inside there.
We didn't want to ask for too much the first go around.
The hoodie.
We can get
The
our
official?
own hoodie.
Something for later, man.
We'll get our own hoodie and
Since
just add it in
Since he
there.
started it all, it should have
Yeah.
had the hoodie on there, too.
Nice.
I'll go get a hoodie and we'll add it in there before it gets framed. So he autographed the football for us as well, some
He
Packers
did.
gear. And we will put that up on Instagram. It may be out before this episode airs. Who knows? Who knows? But this episode airs in
We're
a
going to
couple.
put it out tonight.
We got to take pictures before we leave.
Yeah.
So. But this episode airs before in like 4 days, however long it takes to get to Monday from where we are right now.
Ron, you're looking kind of
All right.
with question there.
Trying to
So
figure that out.
Mr. James Jones autographed this for us, number 89. That was his jersey number. So
Yeah.
he wrote number 89.
Mm-hmm.
He
I already know what
autographed
the
it.
question's going to be.
James Jones, and then underneath he wrote
Yeah.
NTAF. That would be November Tango Alpha Foxtrot for you military types. But NTAF.
Taking you back to your...
That's
Yes.
nice. You rattled those off pretty
Taking
good
you
too.
back. Oh, yeah. Sounds legit,
Been
too.
practicing
Of
all
course
day.
it sounds
All
legit
day.
coming
Say,
from
like in
you.
his sleep, he just woke up. Oh, let's say.
That was the last time I said tango. Alpha, Charlie.
Tango and Cash, old
Oh,
1980s movie.
That's a
Oh,
good
I
one.
love that.
That's
That
a
is a
good
good one.
NTAF. Any guesses on what that might be, Ryan?
No. Not even. I can't even think. No. I have no clue. NTAF.
I mean, you can do a quick Google search if you want. I'll fill some time.
I bet you that will even come up.
Yeah, it will.
Not,
It absolutely will.
not.
Fano stumped, but he's trying to work through it without the help of Google.
No.
Ryan has reverted.
Something not.
Well, he might have come up with something here. The old.
Well, first of all, there's no. I mean, if this is it, there's a problem.
Is it kid friendly?
yeah. So we do have some minors in the studio here. So if you cannot say it in front of our studio audience, you
No.
can't put
So-
it out over the air.
National Transplant Assistance Fund, which I knew that was not it.
That's number one on our bloopers. That's number one on our part two of our bloopers. Right?
That's exactly
you got-
what it means.
I don't
you
know
got-
if that'll make the bloopers. That might make the real thing.
Then you have National Taxpayers Against Fraud.
These are your guesses?
No, I'm telling you what it says.
Just keep scrolling.
Oh,
Keep reading.
he
Keep reading
the
it,
number
Ryan.
one Google search he didn't say. I guarantee you.
Did. Are you going to try to take a guess before I say
No,
anything?
So you can say-
I
you can
can't
say-
top. I can't top anything. That
You can say the
said.
first three words of the other. The number one thing on Google says,
Never trust a.
yeah.
And then it says fart.
Or you can
That's
say
what it
the
is. Or
whole
just
thing.
say the whole
Yeah.
thing.
I mean, why?
Well,
why
you paused and looked at me. I thought you wanted me to say it.
I said you could say the first 3 words.
And then I stopped and you just went,
Yeah, because you did good. And then you didn't.
That you did.
Was that a?
That is not what it
That's
means.
not what it says.
Okay, that's not what it's.
No.
Okay.
James Jones has had no transplants that I'm aware of.
come on now.
He's good.
Maybe that's
on
why
the-
you had to wear the hoodie. You never know.
He's good as far as finances go, as far as I know. Didn't see him on any ESPN documentaries.
No.
Oh, that's funny.
So, Zach, you go ahead. I'll let you.
Never think about failure. Did you ever
Okay.
got there?
No.
No.
I like the never trust a fart, though. That's a good one. I like that. I got her to laugh. That's a good one.
she,
Check.
Wow.
she'll remember that forever.
That was good. That was G.
Never think about failure is his slogan, catchphrase, whatever the right word is. But it comes from him being homeless. James Jones, for those of you that might have missed that episode, go back and listen because he tells a great story. But he was homeless for like the first 12 years of his life or something along those lines. And he never thought about failure, never thought about quitting. He said, this is where I'm going, and just worked to get there. So that is his mantra now. Never think about failure. So
I was thinking about y'all's episode. Well, I guess the one that aired, losing and going through that. And it's like, his mindset was, I can't lose, right? Like everything's riding on me. And so
yeah, for
It's
his
not,
family.
it's not an option.
failure's not an option. There you go.
Mhm.
There's your own.
Yep.
Sure, that one's already out there somewhere.
Oh, I'm sure. But I'll write it down just in case.
Just in case you're
Yeah.
signing stuff.
Call the patent office real quick.
You're
Tomorrow.
right. Are they still open?
Well, tonight we are not talking about anything related to that, but I guess that is a good little segue. Never think about failure. Today, this episode, we're going to dig into the book of Job. The book of Job, we're going to do something a little different. We've not done this before. We're going to work our way through the entire book. So it'll take a couple episodes. We don't know how many episodes. If you've got a guess, let us know because we're just going to wing it a little bit. So maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4. I don't know. Get LeBron counting a little meme over here. But we're just going to work our way through the book of Job. And we might get stumped. We might stump ourselves, find something we're confused about. We'll come back and answer that next time. But that's it, boys.
Drop a line, comment, tell us how bad, wrong.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We want all that kind of stuff. Let us.
How many times I make a mess
No
up
one
on
yet
this?
has attacked us like that on. I don't think
No.
like a comment unless you just not.
You
Unless
get in that
like,
email
deleted
box
it
that
or
you
something
check
like
once
that.
a quarter.
I do check that about once a week.
I don't know too many
But,
people has gone after us, so we've kind of.
No,
Stayed clear
They're
of
pretty
the-
good. We'll get a YouTube comment every once in a while. That's probably the worst of it for us. But
Yeah.
nothing too crazy. But we have hit delete on a few of those. So.
Yep.
Sure. You.
But family friendly. We try and keep it family friendly on all
Absolutely.
platforms. So,
Try to.
but Job, we're gonna dig into the book of Job. We're just gonna start verse number 1, chapter 1, and keep on going till we run out of time for this episode. And we'll pick up wherever we left off next time. And there may be some twists and turns along the way. We have no idea where we're going, but we're going to start Job 1:1. Ready? Go. Crickets.
I don't have that reader's voice.
No,
Can you dove over me? And
yeah, I don't know that we're going to read the entire thing.
Right.
We'll start off. We'll read a couple verses here. And
I didn't do
But-
it. I was going to let it just read it for you, for us.
oh, he's got technology. Google's his friend tonight.
Yeah.
But
Not my battery, though.
I don't know that we're going to go line for line and read everything and just give a take, but we'll start there. So let me start for you guys. Awkward silence when it's time to read some Bible verses.
I'll
So
set you up. Who was Job, Daniel?
Job was a great guy in the Bible,
Okay. There you go.
but actually, I do have some cheat
He
notes
was a
here.
man.
Before that was a good setup, and if I would have been
Yeah.
prepared, I would have went straight
I'm
into
sorry.
it. So
All right. I thought that's
yeah,
my
no.
bad.
No, that was your good and my bad. So, but I found some notes doing a little bit of research today for
Slow
today's
day.
episodes.
slow day at
For
the office.
today's episode, yeah. the book of Job does not mention any indications of data or like places. Very few places are named in this book. So it's kind of a special book, but it's also makes that hard to arrange it in a historical order. But the author of Job is not known for sure. There are several, different
Guesses.
scholars and stuff kind of guess, or they come to a conclusion of different people. Some say Job himself. Some say Moses, Solomon, Isaiah, Ezekiel, all kinds of different people, but it's all uncertain. Nobody really knows. The oldest dates in the book that people kind of suppose go back as far as the time of Moses, possibly even before that, but nobody really knows.
All these facts, just
Yeah.
spitting them.
Hey, internet was my friend too, Ryan.
Yep.
But
That's a great thing.
We're back.
the events in the book do indicate a very early time of origin because of Job's age. We get to that at the very end of the book, chapter 42. It talks about his age when he's gone through all the stuff that we're going to look at, and then he lived another 140 something years, I think, or somewhere close to that after all these events. The people of Israel are not mentioned in the book of Job. The habit to offer at home, they offered meat at home. And, if you're like, what are these facts? We're going to get to them eventually. The mentioning of and here's the first time we're going to probably pronounce something wrong. That's what you need Google for, pronounce some of these words.
Those friends.
This is actually a casita coin. So a unit of money, a casita. That may be totally wrong, but that's what we're going with here in Middle Tennessee. And that coin, that type of money was mentioned in Genesis 33:19 and also in Joshua 24:32. So that
You think Brother Matt has a coin that's like that?
He does.
I know he collects a
coins.
lot of that. So
I don't know that anybody has a casita coin going back that far.
right.
That's four.
I mean, that's
Right.
when you're talking about the book of Genesis, the book of Joshua, it's pretty early.
Right.
I like the beginning.
Yeah, it's about as far back as you can go.
So I'm like reading through the Bible, but it's like chronological as far as like when this, and it was like it goes through like Job, like sometime after like the story of Noah and before Moses.
Before Moses.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So, but I don't know if that's. I mean, it's just it's on like the Bible app. But I wanted to like go like chronologically through the Bible, whatever, and I was surprised that it was like so early.
Is
Yeah.
that early? Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I mean that's the guy that wrote this thing I'm referring to. He does say that it could be before Moses. They just really don't know for sure. But all these clues they have show how early it was.
right.
One other thing was Job and his friends knew God as the Almighty, as did Abraham. That's how Abraham referred to God. So there you go. Not exactly sure where Job, where he lived. They kind of have some suggestions of where he lived, maybe eastward of the Jordan River towards the border of Arabia in the land of Edom, or its vicinity. So there you go. There's some little facts to tease you. But that's
in the very beginning. It talks about Uz.
yes.
Is that not where he? See, I thought that was where he was from.
Oh, the
That's what it
land.
said.
Yes, I'm sorry. I skipped. I
He's
skipped the
from
first
Uz.
4 words. The land of Uz, which
Yeah.
is suggested to be eastward of the.
I got that
Jordan.
it was on the Red Sea, just south of Israel.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have
not
a map
specific, but
in front of me.
Well, I'm just saying in general.
And you're probably right about the east because the end of verse 3, it says he was the greatest man among all the people of the east.
Of the East.
So you're probably
Right.
spot on with that.
But Final might have dropped a truth bomb here that
Truth, Mom?
some people listening may not know. The Bible is not written, it's not put together in chronological order.
It is not.
So
That's what made me want to like go like chronologically because I was like, man, I'm always like, when did that like happen? So I'm only through like Moses. I haven't
But that's
been too far after. I'm only like 38 days in, maybe. It just gives you verses. So
I didn't want to skip over that. That was a pretty big revelation right there.
for
that
sure, for sure.
Some people may not have known.
Yeah.
For people that wanna maybe read the Bible in that order, there's I think it's a publishers, is that right? That actually make the books themselves. They actually make Bibles that are in chronological order, correct?
Or like on the Bible app,
Or
you
just
can,
using
do like a plan, and it'll go like chronologically. That's where I
Gotcha.
had it just right off that app.
Nice.
So, which I thought would be neat.
Oh, absolutely.
Just things in order and stuff like that.
Totally different
it's been
perspective and learning.
Pretty cool so far. So, like this, like Job. I didn't think Job. I don't know where I thought it would be, but
But I mean, it's definitely when I was reading this, definitely older than I pictured,
Yes.
right?
Right.
And I don't know that I had ever put a lot of thought into that, but definitely when I was reading that, it's like, well, that's that's pretty far back, pretty old, but very cool as well. So we're gonna. There was something else I was gonna say. So it might be right here on the first page that I was.
Gonna have to pull out my breaking news.
All right, I found it.
Nice.
Just looking on page 2 and 3. I should have been looking on page 1.
Right there in the beginning.
The beginning.
All right, one more fact that may or may not interest you, but I thought it was interesting. The book of Job is a link and frame story. So the beginning, which is chapter 1 and chapter 2, and the end, chapter 42, are written in prose, whereas the speeches in between, everything in between those are written in the form of poems. And Hebrew poetry is different from Western poetry. Hebrew is not marked by tempo and rhyming and stuff, but it's a pictorial language. Parallelisms. I should have let Ryan try to say that.
Nope.
Parallelisms, partly by rhythm and alliteration. But there you go. It's kind of broken into 3 different parts.
I did terrible in literature, so.
Oh, yeah. It's no fun in school when you got to, like, do it for real. But, if you just got to read, like, one paragraph and, like, that's pretty cool.
All my day.
All right. Well, we're going to get started now. There we go. We got a little preview, little highlights
Nice.
of what's to come.
Liked it.
All right. Well, I'm just going to read a couple verses, and then we'll talk about it. Keep on going. We're probably not going to read the whole thing like this, but here we go. There was a man in the land of Uz. Is it Uz or Ooze?
I go Uz.
I probably would have went Uz. Yeah.
Please,
I don't know why.
Please correct us.
The audio said Uz.
Audio said Uz. There we go.
But his variation was like Tennessee Southern.
Yeah.
It was not.
That's a new translation. It's just now out on the Bible app.
Gotro.com.
It is not free. You got to pay for that subscription.
Yeah.
Land of Uz, whose name was Job. That man was blameless and upright, one who feared God and turned away from evil. There were born to him 7 sons and 3 daughters. He possessed 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 female donkeys, and very many servants.
I think right there, when you think about a wealthy individual, and all the things, like, we know individuals that have head of cattle. Well, that 7,000 sheep and 3,000,
that's not jewels and everything, but that's wealthy.
That's wealthy.
Well, but also,
Back then,
Then you got to think about the land.
To house these.
Yeah.
That's what
the land of how, but we already talked about how old this is, how far back in history this is. So,
Right.
like, it'd be rich today, right? Having all this thousands of animals. But back then, who knows what the population was? And you were like Bill Gates or, whoever the richest man in the world is.
If this came in like right before Moses, right? You're thinking about he's got more animals than there are people.
Yeah. He's
But I think it sets the stage for what's to come, right? Like he's on the mountaintop, right?
He is absolutely on the mountaintop.
Yes.
Sorry, I cut you.
Oh,
Look on page 1. Page 1 is on.
So it lists all the animals, right? And then 500 female donkeys. Why is it specific about the donkeys being female? I don't have an answer for that, but that's something that struck me.
Yeah. I don't. I looked at that, or I was trying to figure out what that was, and I couldn't find anything.
I think I'm going to have to do some research on that one. 500 female donkeys.
Donkeys can have offspring, but burros can't? Or what's the one that can't? At a burro.
I thought
Yeah.
a burro was a male donkey. Or am I
Maybe.
wrong on that?
What's
too?
the one with like a donkey and a horse? A mule.
Mule.
Yeah,
Mule
Mule.
can't have offspring, right?
maybe. Yeah.
I think you're correct.
That sounds right.
So maybe, yeah, I don't know.
The significance of 500 female donkeys. Do some recon on that.
I mean, is a female worth more than a male donkey?
My house, they are.
Well, I mean, in general, yes. But, I don't know. That's
I would
just
think
one-
they would be if they can have
Oh,
offspring.
no, I know you heard me.
I did hear you. Loud and
Oh,
clear.
we all heard
Loud
you.
and
We
clear
all
over there.
agreed. There was nothing more to say on that. But yeah, that's something. Why did it say 500 female donkeys? I don't know. Drop us a line if you know the answer. You can tell we didn't dig into that one too much. His had a lot of servants as well. His sons used to go and hold a feast in the house of each one on his day, and they would send and invite their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. And when the days of the feast had run their course, Job would send and consecrate them, and he would rise early in the morning and offer burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, "It may be that my children have sinned and cursed God in their hearts." Thus Job did continually. So you talked about setting the stage. That's setting the stage as well of his eyes, his thoughts, his heart is always on God. He's always trying to do what's right in the eyes of the Lord. And even when his kid, I mean, he's so worried about his kids, but who knows what they did over at that house party they just had last night.
Just in case they
Yeah.
did something. They
Who
weren't
all
supposed
was
to.
over there, Fano? Give me a list of names.
Just in case. I want to sacrifice one
Yeah.
something.
Well, and that term right there, that offer burnt offerings, comes right there at Abraham, right? Of like, Isaac and offering him as a burnt offering. And so, Fonham, maybe you're correct. No, it's before Moses right there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting.
It is interesting.
Because I don't know any other time that I've heard that in there besides right there at Moses.
Yeah.
Very wealthy man. Very wealthy man. Lots of land, animals, also family. He was blessed in every way he could have been blessed on the earth. But then, dun, 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 we come to
Conversation.
a little crossroads in the
Little
story.
chit chat.
So this is something else that struck me that we'll get into here in a second. There was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them. The Lord said to Satan, "From where have you come?" Satan answered the Lord and said, "From going to and fro on the earth, and from walking up and down on it." And the Lord said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man, who fears God and turns away from evil?" Then Satan answered the Lord and said, "Does Job fear God for no reason? Have you not put a hedge around him and his house and all that he has on every side? You have blessed the work of his hands, and his possessions have increased in the land. But stretch out your hand and touch all that he has, and he will curse you to your face."
I see Satan just like chuckling when he says that. Like I'm just goofing around over here. Don't worry about me.
So a lot to unpack in this.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you guys my first thoughts, and then I might come back to something else I read. We'll see where we go with it. But the first thing that hit me when I read this was Satan still goes in the presence of God. Like he's there to talk to. We kind of think like he's cast out, he's gone, and he's just doing his own thing. But he still has conversations with God, even though he's been cast out.
Yeah.
That was the first thing that hit me. Like, why? Why would he still go back? And I mean, he knows. I don't know. I mean, it's just confusing to me. Like, he's got to know he's messed up. He's beaten. He's not going to win. But he's still kind of going back like a little bully trying to
And
poke
not
the
only
bear.
that, I mean, he was hanging out with the angels, too. I mean, he was with the angels.
Well, he took several with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is another
True.
reason I think it's at the beginning, right? Like that's up there where the
Right.
Moses thing is. Like I just got cast out of the garden, so maybe this is right there behind it. But
And just him like roaming the earth.
Yeah.
Like what
It's like
I
almost
mean,
like that's all that Satan has.
right.
So it's
Because there were people, so he's just roaming the earth, just walking. But I mean,
I mean, he started with the first people,
Right.
Adam and Eve, right?
Right.
He's right there with the first, and he's just looking them. I mean, unfortunately, he got the ones right at the beginning to mess up, so he's still trying to get everybody else to mess up.
and still
That first
doing,
step's the
and
hardest.
Still doing it.
Still doing it, and we have thousands of years of examples of what not to do, and we still do it. But so that struck me that he's still coming and conversing with God, even though he's been cast out. And God just has everything under control. Like, hey man, you how about Job over here? What do you think about him? You can't mess with him. You got nothing on him.
Kind of challenging him.
What confidence is that, right? Like that's the prayer that we always talk about is like, what would it be like if you said, hey, I would love for God to have that kind of confidence in me to know, like, test
To know
it,
that he's saying
do
that
whatever
about
you
you.
want to do.
Right.
But Zach's not going to fall for that. Well,
Yeah.
this hour.
I was going to say there is no book of Zach. There is no book of Daniel. There is a
Right.
book of
There is a
Daniel, but it
book of
ain't
There's the
about
book
this
of
one.
Daniel.
It ain't about this one. Yeah. But I mean, I think if you would ask Job in that moment, he's like, "Oh yeah, I got you, God." Changes a little bit later, but
He comes back.
it comes back. It comes back. But so I was reading about this, and I don't remember who the guy's name was. I should have wrote it down, but I didn't.
Page 1.
Yeah, well, that was a different article I was reading. But he says when a lot of people read this, they go straight to this was heaven, like God is meeting with angels in heaven. But he's like, that's not what it was. He's like, and I don't know the answer to this, but this is we're going to give both sides to the story. He says the sons of God, when the sons of God came to present themselves, he said that's just a group of believers meeting and praising God, worshiping God, kind of thing. So Satan is going to be in their midst. It's the same thing today. When believers come together, Satan is there also trying to break that down and break them apart. So he's like, this was Satan's already cast out of heaven. He's roaming the earth. It says he's roaming. He said this was not a meeting in heaven. He doesn't believe. So that was the discrepancy. I mean, because when I first read it, I mean, it's easy to go, well, you got God, you got Satan. There's a group of people. They're in heaven, right? That's where the meeting is.
Satan obviously already knew who Job was.
Right.
And thought that he was like, I guess in a way, like untouchable because he talks about the hedge of protection around him. And
well, that makes it
seems like
personal.
Satan already knew Job, seems like very well.
And I think from his standpoint, he was showing favor because he had all this stuff, right? I mean,
Right.
he obviously was wealthy. So he's spinning it like, hey, he's only following you because of all
Right.
that you've given him.
Right.
So
Yeah.
So I didn't think about it in those terms, but to me, that makes it more scary. Like Satan.
Yes.
I mean, we know we're personal to God. God knows us. He
Right.
knows the number of hairs on our head, all that kind of
Right.
stuff. But I mean, to know that Satan would know somebody's
Right.
name, like that's scary too.
That's
'cause he
kind
is
of how
attacking
I
you.
read it.
No,
I
that's
could
great.
be
Yeah.
far off or whatever, but it's just
I don't think so. Like he is attacking you personally.
right.
It's not just he's casting a generic trap out there and we
Right.
happen to fall. He is going after each one of us individually.
Yeesh.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
you got a book in here after you. The rest of us are on our own.
I don't know how to interpret dreams or tame lions, so I'm in trouble. All right, so Satan said, hey, God, you're protecting Job. Stretch out your hand and touch all that he has, and he will curse you to your face. And the Lord said to Satan, behold, all that he has is in your hand. Only against him do not stretch out your hand. So Satan went out from the presence of the Lord. So there it is. I mean, regardless of if this is people who were, gathering to worship God, praise God, or if they were meeting ahead of heaven or whatever, Satan was in the presence of God. Because then it says after this conversation, he left the presence. So that's crazy to me. Like if you leave heaven, Satan, why would he go back? You know, because he knows he's gone, like he's messed up. He can't fix what he's done.
Right.
Why would he go back?
It's almost like the challenge, right? Of I'm reading that as if I can convince or pull away one of the ones that are following you, then I can strengthen.
It's a victory.
Yes.
That's it.
Yep.
Because he could have got the other three here.
Right.
I feel confident he could have got the other three.
I won a battle. I mean, he's got to know he's not going to win the war, right? But,
Right. Whatever I can pull, I am.
Ooh, pretty heavy. I mean,
It is.
And the confidence, right? Like you can do anything you want to, just don't kill him. Do anything you
yeah.
want to.
Don't
Take
touch
it.
his
Take it.
body.
Yeah.
All right.
Don't touch his body. So then there's a day, verse 13, there was a day, now there was a day, when his sons and daughters, Job's sons and daughters, were eating and drinking wine in their oldest brother's house. And there came a messenger. Get ready. The hits are about to start coming.
The turn is.
Yeah, the turn is upon us.
It is.
And there came a messenger to Job, and it's really not funny, but I mean, you almost have to laugh, right, to keep from crying.
It's because we know the end.
Well, we do know the end, yeah.
Yeah.
That always helps.
It does.
When you know how it turns out, that always helps.
It does.
All right, all the children eating, drinking wine, and there came a messenger to Job and said, the oxen were plowing and the donkeys feeding beside them, and the Sabaeans. Are we going with Sabaeans?
Sure.
I was
Hold on, Ryan, what are you saying?
Sabians.
Sabians?
Sabians.
Is that what the
Mm-hmm.
Sabians? Nick Sabians, not really. He might be on the other side of this. Well, no, this is. I'm talking about people I don't know. I'm gonna have to cut that out.
Nope.
Outtake.
You don't want him coming after you.
I definitely. He might get us canceled. Sorry, Coach.
That was good.
All right, so we're going with the Sabians. The oxen were plowing, the donkeys feeding beside them, and the Sabians fell upon them and took them and struck down the servants with the edge of the sword, and I alone have escaped to tell you. While he was still speaking, there came another and said, the fire of God fell from heaven and burned up the sheep and the servants and consumed them, and I alone have escaped to tell you. While he was still speaking, there came another and said, the Chaldeans formed 3 groups and made a raid on the camels and took them and struck down the servants with the edge of the sword, and I alone have escaped you. While he was still speaking, there came another and said, your sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in the oldest brother's house, and behold, a great wind came across the wilderness, struck the 4 corners of the house, and it fell upon the young people, and they are dead, and I alone have escaped to tell you. Then Job arose and tore his robe and shaved his head and fell on the ground and worshipped. I'm going to read that again. Then Job arose, tore his robe, shaved his head, and fell on the ground and worshipped. And he said, naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked shall I return. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. In all of this, Job did not sin or charge God with wrong.
With all that happening, I don't know if I could.
How
I
many?
mean, just thinking just human flesh, I don't think I would ever be able to do that. Like, all that happened to you.
I mean, he's lost everything in the matter of a few minutes.
I didn't realize, I guess just me hearing the stories and not fully like just digging into this, I never realized those happen like back to back to back to back. I thought there was a
Hit 'em
period
all
of
at once.
time
All at
that this
once.
happened. I mean, those are hard punches, but at the same time, I was like, man, it happened within like 20 minutes.
I would love to know a time frame, right?
Yeah,
Of how
like an
detailed,
exact.
or the servant that comes up and is telling the very first story. How detailed are we getting in that story? But he doesn't even get to finish the story before the next guy shows up, and then the next
Everything that I found said within a day. So it's like if you're eating dinner, and then here comes a guy at lunch, and here comes but all of that in the span of a day, like
yeah. Well, I mean, I would have taken it even sooner, right? Like 20 minutes or something.
knock at the door.
Yeah, because I mean, it does say the first guy wasn't done telling the story what happened when the next one showed up. He wasn't done telling that story when the next one showed up.
Lock the door.
Like that. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're the first guy, you're like, I'm glad I got that out and it's off me now.
Yeah.
Kind of, you know, I mean, that's kind of selfish, but that's kind of where we would.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I would go there, right? Like, all right, I thought I had bad news. He's got some worse news. I'm going to step out.
Man.
It just keeps on coming.
Oh man.
So
And
all those things that you had at the beginning, right? Livestock gone, now family gone, like, and still blesses God, right?
Yeah.
Because as we'll read later, Satan wants to do more.
Yeah. I mean, there was no hesitation. And I mean, I think he had time to let this fester and go down the wrong path, right? Because he shaved his head. I don't know how long it takes somebody to shave their head.
Oh, no.
But
it only takes a couple minutes actually.
But let's
Been doing it for a while.
I mean, what?
I don't know if they had the same stuff you had.
I don't
to shave
think
their
That's where
head.
I'm going.
I don't know about
What are they using to shave their head?
Yeah, but
Get the hedge clippers out.
I don't think those clippers.
I don't know. They had hedge clippers then.
But that's why. So what do you
Straight
think?
razor? No.
No, I'm just
I
grabbing
know the straight
hands and just yanking.
Like a real time frame.
What do they
What's
got?
it take for you to shave your head?
Actually, Lori does it.
Well, okay, same thing. Same
Probably
question.
like 7 minutes.
7 minutes.
If that, probably
If-
5 to
so
7
let's say
minutes,
5
probably.
minutes. Let's say 5 minutes.
Probably 5 minutes.
If all of this was taken, I'm going to say it took Job longer than 5 minutes.
I'm going to
Yeah.
go out there on a limb and say yes.
But
Yeah.
but maybe not. Maybe he was in a rage and he did it. But even in 5 minutes, all this stuff taken away from you, where's your attitude going to go? I mean, I lost this, why would you do this to me? All this kind of stuff. And he never even looked at going down that road. So much so that Job did not say this. The author of the story, the divine writing of the story says, in all of this, Job did not sin or charge God with wrong. So they are speaking about Job and his character. That's not Job narrating his own story. So,
And I think it ends with, he still blesses God in his prayers.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. His quote is, blessed be the name of the Lord. I came with nothing. I'm going to leave with nothing. If you want it, it's yours. You know what you're doing.
And that's just the first response. Like after all this, the first response is for him to praise God.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like death in families and losing your job and stuff. And that, I mean, the praying usually comes after
The question.
what am I going to do? What
Yeah.
am I going to
Yeah.
do?
We
Where do
could
I go
eventually
now?
get there.
Let's figure it out.
Right.
Then the prayer will come. But his first reaction is to praise God.
Yeah. I think we could eventually get there, like you said, but
Right.
most of us in this kind of situation are
Right.
not starting there.
No.
We're going to have to work through
And
it.
that's living
Oh,
it
yeah.
out, right? I mean, because
It
what
is.
is it in James? Like I think it's James 1. You should consider it pure joy to go through trials. And
Yeah.
you think about that. It's like, do I live that out when
Yeah.
things are falling down? And nothing like this,
No.
back to back to
No.
back, right?
No.
It's just different. And that's why, pray to be like Job, that he can call on me with confidence like that.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
For sure.
But then chapter 2 starts, and it doesn't start exactly the same as chapter 1.
You think that roller coaster is going to go back up, but it just kind of drops
Yep.
again.
Yep.
Yeah, right when your stomach settles, chapter 2 comes along. Again, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves. I would love to know this time frame right here,
Yeah.
right? That'd be...
You got some viewers out there. Maybe
It really doesn't matter, right? If this is the next day or 3 months later,
Right.
I mean, he's still without everything. It really doesn't. I mean, how long does it take to get over that kind of hurt, that kind of loss, right? So if this was 6 months later,
Right.
you're still in a bad spot.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But if it was 6 months later, you're almost like, I know you went through a bad patch, but at the same time, you're like, I might be starting to grasp at what happened.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, boom, it hits again.
Yeah.
I almost would you prefer it to happen? I mean, no one wants this to happen, obviously, right? But if it would you rather it happen, boom, 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 boom,
All at
or
once.
6 months later this happens, 6 months later this happens?
That's a good question.
That
man.
is a good question. Right?
Send your comments in.
That's a great question.
Yeah, I mean, you should have finished on that high there. But
Yeah,
we'll put a
But-
poll out on that Instagram that you put out there once a quarter.
Hey, there's your new post right there, man.
There you go.
We got 2 posts coming up. Good.
Would you
job.
rather all these bad things happen at once or spread them out?
Spread 'em out. Well,
Good job, Ryan.
Oh, well,
You're welcome.
well
We're going to give you.
He's done.
We're going to give you posting privileges on the Instagram.
About that.
But I mean, that I would like to. I mean, that's who. I would like to know what that time frame is.
Yeah.
Got nothing much to add there. Again, there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them. Like, it's funny how he's always there. If you're seeking God, he's seeking you.
Absolutely.
Satan and God. 2-for-1 deal. I just want the 1-for-1. And the Lord said to Satan, "From where have you come?" Satan answered the Lord and said, "From going to and fro on the earth, and from walking up and down on it." And the Lord said to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job? There's none like him on the earth, a blameless and upright man who fears God and turns away from evil. He holds fast his I don't know where that is came from. He still holds fast his integrity, although you will be in." Let me start that sentence over. Woo,
Ron, you are looking good today.
looking great.
I'm keeping my mouth shut.
Instagram post and all. He still holds fast his integrity, although you incited me against him to destroy him without reason. Then Satan answered the Lord and said, "Skin for skin, all that a man has, he will give for his life. But stretch out your hand and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse you to your face." And the Lord said to Satan, "Behold, he is in your hand, only spare his life." So even going back to chapter 1, when all that stuff was taken away from Job, his family, his possessions, all that, God didn't do it, but God allowed it all to happen. I mean, God could have stopped all that from happening, but he allows us to be tested and to have our faith solidified through experience, even bad experience.
When you think about things that go on in the world today, right? Like, where are you going to, I can see where people would get off on woe's me, or like, if you didn't have faith, where would you turn, right? You would isolate, whatever. But your faith is what keeps you going. And he had faith in Job that would, hey, he's gonna find the right direction, right? Regardless of what you do to him.
But that was something else that kind of struck me when getting ready for this. Some people say, "Why is God doing this to me?" And again, that's just a poor attitude on our part, a poor thought direction and heart direction of God inflicting bad stuff on us. He's not inflicting that on us, but he is allowing it to happen for a greater purpose, though. We remember good times or bad times more. The bad times always stick out more.
That's right.
Nope.
But then, a lot of times we can see, well, I got this fruit or this positive thing ended up happening from that bad experience.
You can't see it going through the storm, right? But when you can look back, right? It goes back to what you were talking about earlier. If you knew the end of the story, you could endure a lot more, right? You could endure a lot
And
more.
the bad stuff has some humor in it when you know the end. Satan went out from the presence of the Lord. Again, I mean, that still strikes me every time I read it, that it strikes me that God allows Satan to be in his presence. I guess maybe that's the bigger thing in my mind. God lets Satan continue to come back to him. There's a parallel. I mean, it does show his power because God ain't worried about it.
Right.
Is there anything in the Bible that says why he allows that to happen?
I don't know, but I was just about to say there's a parallel that God lets us continue to come back to him.
Right.
When we mess up, when we turn our backs on him and we're
Right.
chasing other stuff that we shouldn't be chasing.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
Right.
So Satan went out from the presence of the Lord and struck Job with loathsome.
We're going to go skin sores.
Skin sores.
Yeah.
I like it.
Painful
I mean,
sores is what it
I
is.
think I know how to say it, but my Tennessee enunciation doesn't let me get all the syllables in that. I don't think.
Ron, you want to give it a shot?
No, not that one.
Loathsome sores from the sole of his foot to the crown of his head, and he took a piece of broken pottery with which to scrape himself while he sat in ashes.
All right, I don't get that part. Scrape. What does that mean by he's saying he's scraping himself?
So, I mean, there are different translations of this, right? And I had one earlier, not on page 1.
For some reason, I always just thought it was like itching.
Boils.
Scratching himself.
So he's just taking something to literally scratch. Just
Don't
Okay.
quote me, right?
okay. Well, that makes sense. That makes sense, though.
I would agree
Okay.
with that. It might. I mean, I'm with you, Zach. I think maybe just to itch himself.
I think boils was another translation, maybe,
Yeah.
but something else I read was, it might have been the boils, but I mean, I just imagine like blisters. If you've ever had a blister, a single blister on your foot or wherever, on your hand, like how much that irritates you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if it's on your hand, everything you do, everything you touch, that thing is in the way, right? Or if it's on your foot, every step you take, whatever, it's hurting, it's in the way.
Okay.
To have it from the soles of your feet to the top of your head, cover, and even like a single blister, what do most of us do with it today?
Big baby.
Okay, after we get over being a big baby, most of us pop it, right?
Yeah.
Like get that out of
Yeah.
there, start the healing process,
Yep.
all that kind of stuff. Or that's what we think. That is not medical advice. Do not, take that to the bank or to your doctor. Go see what your doctor has to say. But
Pop it and pull as much skin off as possible.
yeah, I mean, most of us do that.
Let that thing get infected.
Let the scab start,
Yeah.
and all that healing process
Absolutely.
start. So I mean, I think that's what he's like. Get this off of me, like
Yeah.
wherever
Okay.
this is coming from. Get it off of me. But I mean, itching, burning, all that kind of stuff is going to go along with that.
The sitting in ashes is what I don't know if I understand. But
Well,
I put that here as a question for me.
I mean, it is a form of repentance back then. There's like sackcloth and ashes and all that kind of stuff. But too, charcoal has healing properties.
Yeah.
And it's going to dry out those sores. Like if it's
Good old remedy.
a blister with pus and all this stuff, it's going to help dry that
Daniel's
out.
spitting the medical facts over here.
Again, that is bushcraft knowledge. That is not. That is not American.
Good.
Whatever the ADA. Is it ADA? American Medical Association. If there
Jump in
is
there,
such a
Ryan.
thing.
I know you wanted to say FDA.
Well, ADA is like American Dental Association. I was like, "What are you going with your teeth over there, boy?"
Hey, charcoal is a good toothpaste.
It is.
But whatever.
What did we talk about today? Not Job.
Whatever medical counsel that you trust to follow, do what they say.
Oh man.
But I do think that's part. I mean, I think there is again, we know Job's mindset right here is God first. So he is focused on God through the ashes and all that kind of stuff. And people still do that today on like Ash Wednesday. You go pray, repent, get the mark on your forehead, all this kind of stuff. But so there's that part of it. But I do think that there's probably a healing part of it. Because you ain't running to Walgreens back in this time.
Get you some hair clippers.
And some
No,
Benadryl.
no Thomas Drugstore
Benadryl.
around the corner.
No.
Some Benadryl.
So then his wife, verse number 9.
There we go.
Then his wife said to him, "Do you still hold fast your integrity? Curse God and die." I mean, we just talked about the wives being the high point of the families, and she is coming in hot right there. Like
I mean, it's that bad that she would want him
to end
to
it.
just die.
And I would have
Right.
to hope she's saying that in a loving way, right?
Right, yeah.
Can
Like-
you say that in a
Yeah.
living way? Like,
Like
Well-
the only way to make you feel better is for you to die.
Right.
Well, to end
You're
your
in so much
suffering.
pain. Yes,
To
you're in
end
so
your
much pain and
suffering.
suffering.
Right.
I mean, people do that today. We don't. I mean, we're inferring our own tone in this sentence, right? But today, if you have a family member who has cancer and is in the hospital, has been sick for a very long time, oftentimes you kind of hope that they die and end all that, and they're not drawn out with a life that is poor quality. So, I mean, we still have that mentality today in certain situations. We may not say it in the way that I just read that sentence, right? But it is like, I love that person. I'm going to miss them. But if God wants to they know God. I know where they're going. I know their future is secure.
Yeah.
I wish they, I would be fine if they die, if God chose for them to die and heal them right now.
And I think for her, and then when we say that, it's because we know where they're going. It makes it much harder to do it when you're not sure. Like if they're not.
Absolutely.
And so for her, I'm in your camp of like her saying that she knows that he's God fearing and God believing. So I could get on board with that, but there's those ones that you have to do that or make that call when you don't know, and I don't know that you want to push them that way without knowing.
Yeah. No,
You almost
and you get that too, like you said, cancer and like a dementia or something like that, where somebody's just lost.
They're not themselves. They're not
themselves.
the person you
just
know.
doesn't So, but again, I know you're going to read it, but his response, man, is after every man.
But Zach, I would say too, like the people that don't know God, like everything they go through in their life is kind of in the dark. Well, that just exacerbates it more. That hey, this life is temporary. What are you're going somewhere? Where are you going?
Yep.
But, all right.
The quote: "Foolish women."
His wife
It's not
said,
my quote.
"Do you still hold fast your integrity? Curse God and die." But Job said to her, "You speak as one of the foolish women would speak. Shall we receive good from God, and shall we not receive evil?" In all of this, Job did not sin with his lips. So same thing mirrored from the chapter 1. He is straight to God. God is right. God, if we trust God to give us good stuff, we got to trust him to take it away too. It's his will. He knows more than we do. We don't see the whole picture like he sees it. So we got to trust in him, and he knows what he's doing. Shut your mouth, woman. Where was that? What verse was that?
Christy right now.
Well, she might answer the phone for that one. She might actually talk to you on that one.
Who's got an open couch? I would not say that. But
Oh, good stuff.
But again, the narrator says Job's mind, heart, soul was in the right place. He did not sin. Now he's being attacked by his wife.
Right.
He's been attacked from every other angle. Now he's being attacked from, the closest person he has here on earth. And then his friends roll in. And Job had 3 friends, or 3 of his friends, heard of this evil that had come upon him. They came each from his own place. Ryan, you want to go with these names?
I thought the first one was Eliphaz
It's not terrible.
from Temanite.
Thought you were going to go Terminite, but
That is an easy mistake. I probably might have gone there myself.
You said Terminite?
yeah,
There's no R in it.
I know, but I thought you would just go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bildad? That's what
Yeah.
it sounds like to me.
You're on fire tonight. Go show.
You're rocking
You're
it.
on fire.
Shahite. The Shahite, I guess, is that how you say it? And then Zophar. It was either Zophar or Zophar. I don't know on that one.
Like the double
And
R
then-
there.
And then Namathite.
You're
That's
on fire.
completely guessing on
You're on
that one.
fire tonight. Go, Tron.
I think you listened to this on the way here. Give me all the names. Give me all the names.
No.
I was driving and listen to that audio.
Hey, you rocked it.
You
Good
did?
job, Ron. Killing it.
Yes.
So his 3 friends, they made an appointment.
Those
together.
guys.
Those guys.
I like that.
Those 3
Then
dudes.
those guys showed
Those 3
up.
dudes, man.
They all made an appointment together to come show him sympathy and comfort him. So they're starting out with a pretty good.
Sounds pretty positive.
They're on the up and up. And when they saw him from a distance, they did not recognize him. And they raised their voices and wept. And they tore their robes and sprinkled dust on their heads toward heaven. And they sat with him on the ground 7 days and 7 nights. And no one spoke a word to him, for they saw that his suffering was very great.
It's a very awkward long time just to sit there
is.
and say nothing.
It is.
I mean, you got to think there. I mean, me and you sit there and look at each other for like 15 minutes. I'm going to say something.
I
I
could
can't
go
make
longer,
it 15.
but,
You can't?
No, you.
Oh, I probably can't.
there are, I could go a long time without talking. I don't know that I can go 7 days.
Yeah.
Just sitting in a circle staring at people, I don't know that I can do 7 days.
It's real hard.
I can go a lot longer than Ryan, but
It sounds like there's a challenge.
that he knows that ain't a challenge.
No.
I'll film it on Instagram if y'all do it. Stare off.
But I mean, this is probably the wrapping it up for the episode. But I mean, his friends came with good intentions.
Right.
We're going to see later in the story that may not be how it turned out, right? But
Right.
I mean, they came with good intention, wanting to help. They were concerned for their friend.
Yeah.
And then when they didn't recognize him, but they still like, man, this dude is worse off than we thought.
Mhm.
I don't even know what to say. Let's just be here and be with him.
And to think it clearly says his friends, right? So they know his faith. And so, you would think that would help the situation. But I don't know. We'll see later.
I wonder where was he?
What do you mean by that?
Like, where was Job? Like, how far from
From his
his place did he?
where they traveled to.
Where he lived? Where did they travel
Well, I
to? Or
mean,
whatever.
if he had all this land, right? I mean,
guess
you
he
can
was just-
imagine his.
Might have just been on the outside outskirts of his property.
I guess so. I guess so. Probably just
It's only from a distance, but
Yeah.
where did they come? Yeah.
yeah, because he didn't have a house anymore. I guess he was just because his house crumbled down and
Well, I'm
I
assuming
guess.
his house or his kid's house?
well, his
Well.
house, like his kids' houses or whatever.
His kid's house
Yeah.
got
yeah,
blown away
maybe it
by
was
the
their
Right.
kids. I guess he.
So I don't
could've-
think
guess-
his,
I guess he
per
could have
se.
still had a house.
But
I
I
guess.
mean, I would imagine he's still sitting out in the ash pit,
yeah,
scraping his sores and
Mhm.
praying and whatever.
yeah.
I mean, right after this in chapter 3 is where he kind of goes into
Mm-hmm.
kind of making something, but
Yeah,
they made an appointment. I mean, that's the other thing that
yeah.
kind of stuck out to me of what else was going on. They had to make an appointment. Or maybe because they had to travel such a distance, they didn't want to show up and him be gone or him be
All right.
whatever.
So he
So
knew
who
they
did
were-
you make
so
an
he knew they
appointment
were
with?
coming, I guess.
A mail
I mean,
pigeon?
you would think so. Servants.
Pony Express.
They,
Went down to that
Yeah,
Walgreens. got a
no,
foot
no. I
phone.
hear you. I mean, I
They
guess
sent servants.
messenger. Yeah, they sent a messenger. 4 dudes that delivered the bad news. Maybe went
Yeah.
to them.
Because I mean,
Made an
Job,
appointment.
Job still had some servants around, right? A lot of them had been killed, but at least 4 of them were still
Yeah.
around.
Right.
But I mean, I'm sure these guys are. I don't know. I shouldn't say I'm sure, but I would
Well, it
imagine
just doesn't go into detail. for
they
it.
they are, wealthy people as well.
They were.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I'm talking about the
Oh, the friends.
friends.
The
The
friends
friends. If they're making appointments and stuff with Job, I don't know. Maybe he would meet with anybody, but a lot of time class, associates with class,
Yeah.
whatever class you happen to be in.
Yeah.
But for them to make an appointment and stuff, to me, that kind of says they are, they're not just some pig farmers or something out there.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
yeah, they didn't recognize him. They just raised their voices and when they see him and they're like, "That's Joe." I mean, they just start crying
Yeah.
for their friend. One more thing that struck me was, like today, somebody will go through something. A family member dies, something happened, whatever happens in their life that's tragic. You don't always have to have an answer for them. You
Yeah.
can just be there,
Yeah.
be a friend,
Sit there.
give them a hug,
Mhm.
pray for them. I mean, you don't have to drag them into a big prayer or nothing. Like, you can pray for them on your own and just, they know you're there. You don't always have to have that answer.
Yeah.
That was something else that stood out to me.
Yeah.
Which is not easy. Like, let's fix the problem. What can I do to help you, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just sit down and be quiet. You're here. That's helping. All right. Well, I think that's the place to end it.
Maybe I'll find somebody better to fill in next week.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
So let's. Are you
You're in
coming
the-
back
you're-
for
you're in
part
the
2?
You're in for the long haul now, man. Well, you can't.
I don't know
start,
how you. I don't know how you say start with chapter 3.
You can't start this Zach and then bail on this man.
All right. Well, I mean, there's a confirmation, but we can poll the studio audience and see. Raise your hand if you think Zach should be back for episode number 2. There we go. It's
Hey.
unanimous.
Unanimous.
Oh, he's reaching for the.
Can I buy some votes?
When Zach reaches towards his back pocket.
Look at that face. She was looking at you. It was looking for the okay. Can I buy some votes?
But
Plural over there.
We have no idea how long it'll take us to get through these 42 chapters or whatever it is in Job.
2 chapters a night.
Take us on to Christmas.
But we'll try.
We might
and-
have some breaks in between.
yeah.
Who knows?
But we seriously might. It might
Yeah.
be an
Yeah.
ongoing thing.
Yeah.
If we have a guest, we'll break it up and.
For sure.
Yeah,
But we're going to try and walk through this entire book, and something we have not done, and
I'm excited for it though.
I
It's
think
different.
It's fun. It is taking a deeper dive, and going in. I mean, we've done some multiple Bible stories and stuff where we just hit some highlights. We're going to try and go a little deeper, and I think we have already. So
I think we always say it, once you study something and look at it, something else is going to jump out. So
absolutely, we had those highlights today. Bible is not in chronological order.
it's not.
Bono's spitting facts.
not,
Ryan over
man.
here is with his pronunciation,
man.
just killing it.
Not.
There we go.
Doing well.
All good thing, and
Finally.
we got an Instagram post coming. So
There you go.
hits all
one.
hits
Might
all
add two.
around.
Might
Man,
add
we're
two
doing
in there,
work
man.
today.
Might be done for the rest of the year, man.
Can I put PTO in for next week?
So
I want to stop on a good note. Just kidding.
I guess we need to finish with the Bible verse here. So
Are
why
you
don't
going
we
from Job?
why don't we just pull one from the book of Job here?
Hey, why not? Why not?
He's going to say one that we've already said.
Absolutely. We're going to go with Job chapter 1, verse 21. And he said, naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked shall I return. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. There you go. Whatever you're going through, God is still good.
All the time.
All the time.
Well, we're going to have a special guest come send us home.
Thanks for listening to GPS to God. Remember, we love you, and God loves you more.
Back to back.
There it is.
100%.
It would have took you like 10 cuts to get that.
I messed up and it was for free. She must be getting paid. She getting
Great
paid.
job, Miss Amelia.
Good job.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys and gals next week.
Thanks for listening to GPS to God. Make sure you leave a rating or review on whichever app you happen to use. Also find us on YouTube and be sure to subscribe to our channel.